Well, then you asked to be removed from that place, right?
At first, I was asking to be removed, and then they told me to calm down, which I did.
Well, I don't think so, but not according to what they're saying.
Yes, well, you know, they told me to just stay in my room. I ended up listening to them and just calm down. And I thought the situation was diffused. And next thing I know, the Trumbull County Sheriffs were there to come and pick me up. I wasn't expecting it. From what they were saying, I was still allowed to be in the program.
Well, I don't know. This has all happened all the same day. You violated some facility rule by exchanging property. You may not have seen it as much of a violation, but there's a lot of people in that program. If they don't have rules that they follow, then all hell breaks loose. So they called you on it. And then whoever spoke to you on staff went to central control. You followed them. Stood in the doorway of the central control, calling the staff member names.
The hearing opens with a guilty plea, but that moment barely matters compared to what follows. The real issue is not the technical violation, it is the pattern hiding behind it. The judge immediately shifts attention toward the failed rehabilitation program because that reveals whether the defendant actually learned anything.
Apparently they wouldn't argue back with you. And then you continue to scream and yell, shouting out multiple times, "You're a bitch, fuck you." Other residents are looking, watching what's going on. Wouldn't stop at all. Told you to go to the upper level. Said you wouldn't comply with her order and you were done with the program. Went to an unapproved area, refused to leave when you were told to leave. Kept saying you were done with the program, demanded being taken back to county. So they obliged you. They called the Trumbull County Sheriff's Department, they took you to jail and brought you here. I mean, so that didn't happen that way?
Most of that is true, Your Honor, but the unapproved area that I went to, I got on the phone after they told me to go to my room just to calm myself down. I was gonna call either my mother or my son's mom just to try to calm me down, somebody else to talk to. And after that, I immediately followed what they were saying and went to my bedroom and just calmed down. I took a nap, and like I said, I woke up to the Trumbull County Sheriff's. Most of that is true, but when I went back to the staff member's desk, the only reason why I went back there was to get a drink of water, and I don't remember ever calling him out of his name more, just other than that one time. So they said multiple times. That could be true. I don't know. Like I said, I let my anger get the best out of me, and you know, I know I messed up at that program. I did, and after I told them I wanted to be cuffed out, I, you know, kind of said, "Oh well, I'll try to calm down. I'm good. I'm okay. I want to stay." And I guess they didn't. They wanted me out of the program, so
Who could blame them?
back.
Who could blame them? They need that shit like a hole in the head at that program. So you seem to make a habit of doing this stuff. So I'm looking at your August 5th violation at the jail, where you're getting into it with Spiesman.
Yeah, that was a
Fighting.
verbal argument, Your Honor, and it went no further than that. He had called me up to the bathroom to fight him, and I completely just ignored him, and all it was a verbal argument.
What makes you think you can do all this stuff?
I don't believe that I can do all this stuff.
Then why do you do it?
I let my anger sometimes get the best of me, and you know, it's something I need to work on.
That was the point of going to NeoCap instead of prison.
I mean, you told me last time I was in front of you to come up with some kind of a plan for the next time I came and talked to you, which, you know, I was proactive. I got myself in, I'm already involved with Signature Health, but I made appointments. If possibly, I'm possibly able to get released. I have assessments, drug assessments. I'm in the MAT program.
For what?
Suboxone, and I've been sober. I've basically been incarcerated for 10 months. They're not counting the time I did misdemeanor time, but I was still booked in on a felony.
Well deserved, by the way.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
The conversation changes from discipline to future potential. Instead of arguing about every detail, the defendant presents what sounds like a structured recovery plan. Housing, employment, treatment, medication, and family all become pieces of a roadmap designed to convince the court that release serves a purpose.
Like I said, I have stable housing.
Where?
At my mom's house. She's right there. Safe, sober environment. She has rules.
Do you yell at your mother?
No, absolutely not.
Do you follow her rules?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Or else I'd be kicked out.
Why do you follow her rules?
I mean, she's my mother. I respect her. As far as work goes, I'm in the laborers union. I could go sign the union books tomorrow and have a job in 2 to 3 weeks, if permitted. Like I said, mental health services, I'm involved with Signature Health. And then I have my son. My son's 13 years old. He's out there. He's struggling right now. He doesn't have a male figure, a male role model in his life, and I feel like I'm finally ready to man up and, you know, be a good father to him and a good role model. I have 10 months sober. I'm ready to get out there and just be a productive member of society.
So I sent you to prison back in 20, right?
Yes.
How was that?
It's terrible. I mean, I stayed after I got out. I stayed good for about 5 years, and then I moved back to Lake County, and I ended up relapsing and obviously catching these cases.
Well, didn't you have some problems there in Minnesota?
I had one relapse when I had first gotten there. But I was never convicted. I was charged of these things, but I was never convicted of it.
Well, what happened?
Basically, I was just with somebody who had drugs, and
Why were you doing that? If you're a drug addict, why are you with somebody who has drugs?
I mean, I just was making bad decisions.
I know. Where's your son live?
He's living at his grandparents' house. His mom's parents.
Where is she?
She's actually she just went to inpatient treatment.
Where?
I think New Day.
How old are you now?
38. I'll be 39 next month.
What kind of union work you do?
The last job I was on was an asphalt job, but I'm in the laborers union. We do concrete, asphalt. I was doing solar work down in Columbus. It's a little bit of everything.
What do they pay you an hour?
38.
The judge digs into the defendant's history because isolated promises mean very little without context. 5 productive years become important, but so does the relapse that erased them. Instead of focusing only on criminal charges, the court examines decision-making.
How long you been affiliated with the labor union?
Since 2023.
Okay, so why are you wasting all this time?
That's why I want to get out there and stop wasting time, Your Honor. I'm sick of this life. I'm sick of being in and out of jail. I'm sick of being away from my family. I'm sick of being in rehab. I'm burnt out of it, and I feel like I'm finally ready to man up and, you know, be a good person, be a good father, be a good son, be a good brother. I just want a better life, man, and I hope you give me the opportunity to, do that.
When all this nonsense happened back in June, what were you doing at the Menor Home Inn and Suites? Is that the one on 90 and 306, the
Yeah,
drug house
right.
up there? What were
Right
you
by
doing there?
Basically, I was kicked out of my parents' house. I didn't have a place to live. I had just moved back from Columbus. I was living in my car, obviously still using, and I planned on getting a room for the night.
And what was the warrant out for?
It was probation violation from Painesville Muni.
So you got kicked out of your parents' house because you were using. How long had that been going on before June 25th?
I'd say a few months, probably since January or December.
Okay. If, as you tell me, you were doing well for 5 years or whatever, 4 or 5 years, why did you start using?
I just remember hanging out with a buddy and just an old friend, not even an old using friend, and we just ended up drinking, and one thing led to another, and it just spiraled out of control.
So what's this plan you were telling me about?
Like I said, Your Honor, I have mental health and drug assessments scheduled for Friday, if I'm able to do that. IOP or whatever they suggest, or if they suggest inpatient, I do whatever. And then housing, like I said, I have housing with my mom, and she has rules.
The discussion turns into a direct lesson about accountability instead of punishment. The defendant describes probation, treatment providers, weekly testing, and his mother as parts of a support system. The judge immediately rejects the idea that accountability belongs to everyone except the individual making decisions.
I have a valid driver's license and transportation, so I'm able to get to my appointments. And I want to get a full season of work in too, because I have not yet to do that. And then obviously following up with probation, which, you know, I feel like I could use that as a tool to hold me accountable with the weekly drug tests and AA meetings.
Well, in the past, you haven't been accountable when you've been on probation, right?
For the most part, yes.
Okay, so it's not up to them to hold you accountable. It's not up to your mom to hold you accountable. You're 38 friggin' years old. You know how ridiculous this is?
It's embarrassing.
Okay. Is your mom retired now?
Yes.
Where did she work?
The Job and Family Services.
When she was 38 years old, was she running around partying
No.
all over the place?
No.
From the time she was 20 until she was 38?
No, absolutely not.
How many days did you tell me he has, Kim?
Altogether, he has 172, and he has 39 on the violation.
All right, Mr. Matthews?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dunlap does have 2 appointments scheduled this Friday, the 20th, one at 9 a.m. For financial department registration at Signature Health, and then an appointment with Diane Martin and Dr. Richard DeFranco for the medically assisted treatment intake. That is at 9:40 this Friday. He is asking that he be released and permitted to attend these appointments at Signature Health, Your Honor. Thank you.
Who put you on Suboxone the first time?
I did it myself.
Well, where'd you get the Suboxone from?
I believe Lake Geauga.
So they put you on the program.
Yeah.
Hey, how long were you on it?
I've been on and off of MATs.
Defense counsel shifts the focus toward concrete treatment instead of emotion. Scheduled appointments, medical evaluations, and medication-assisted recovery provide measurable evidence that planning has already started. Unlike broad promises, appointment dates and treatment providers create something the court can later verify.
Probably since the whole time I've been using.
So when does that part of it end? You gonna be on
I
it the
plan
rest
on-
of your life?
No, I plan on getting on the Sublocade shot when I'm released, and that'll slowly taper me off. And with me working and, you know, getting all my responsibilities in order, I believe that would be the best thing for, you know, my success.
Hey, you can't be on that stuff forever, you know.
Yeah, with the Sublocade shot, you get it once a month, and it'll slowly get out of your system, and eventually I'd be able to get off of it.
What did you tell the signature folks about your tendency to get pissed off at everything all the time?
That's something I could talk to the therapist about, and I mean,
Why do you get pissed off about everything all the time?
I think it was just my environment, honestly, Your Honor. Like, I'm not an angry person. It honestly was just part of being locked up and, being, poked at.
Well, of course, you would acknowledge that you put yourself in a position to be locked up. So that's your fault. You put yourself in a position where, whether you're over here, or whether you're in NeoCamp or anywhere else, people have the power to tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Because you put yourself in that position. Just like you put yourself in a position to sit here and listen to me tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I guess I'd be pissed off too if I was locked up like that. But I guess you have to figure out who's to blame for that. Certainly wasn't the worker at NeoCap who you called a bitch, right?
No, absolutely not.
All right, you're going to stay on community control. And you're going to serve 40 days with credit for 39. No drugs or alcohol with screens. You're going to complete the signature health programs and follow all the recommendations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I ain't done yet. You're to go to only one doctor, one dentist, and one pharmacy for medication. Take your medication as is prescribed, sign releases for probation. Going to attend at least 3 AA meetings a week and obtain a sponsor. Obtain and maintain full employment, pay the costs and fees. Now listen. Don't mistake this program, these terms, as an indication that you wormed your way out of NeoCamp and got your way, okay? Because back in 18, I sent you to prison, and I won't hesitate to send you to prison again.
The final ruling balances opportunity with unmistakable pressure. Community control continues, but the conditions leave almost no room for interpretation. Treatment, sobriety, employment, medication compliance, probation access, and recovery meetings become interconnected requirements rather than optional recommendations. The sentence reflects cautious optimism instead of trust. The judge deliberately warns the defendant not to mistake mercy for weakness. That warning protects the authority of the court while making expectations unmistakably clear. Instead of celebrating a second chance, the hearing frames release as a final professional test. Every condition functions like a checkpoint that measures commitment over time. The court is not rewarding past performance. It is investing one last opportunity while making the consequences of failure impossible to misunderstand. The hearing closes with only a few words, yet they summarize everything that came before. The defendant's acknowledgement matters because the court has now removed uncertainty from the equation. Expectations are specific, consequences are known, and every excuse has already been challenged in open court. Nothing remains hidden behind misunderstanding or confusion. From this point forward, success depends entirely on daily choices rather than courtroom arguments. The judge leaves the defendant with a reminder that prior prison history remains relevant because repeated opportunities eventually lose value when behavior refuses to change. The ending feels less like a conclusion and more like the beginning of a final evaluation. The next hearing will not measure promises. It will measure whether discipline finally replaced impulse when nobody was watching.